weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Goldilocks, offering smart security systems to homes and businesses. Call Goldilocks at 708-889-5600.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. Yesterday, Kash Patel was before the Senate Judiciary Committee. He's the FBI director, don't you know? And there was some silliness because you have United States senators like Mazie Hirono. And, these are the sorts of things that you have to endure when you're the FBI director.
One question I had is, that you are now requiring applicants to be able to do a certain kind of pull-ups, which a lot of women cannot because of physiological differences. Are you requiring these kinds of pull-ups?
We are requiring a physical program at BFTC at Quantico because FBI agents carrying guns in the field have to chase down bad guys and do really hard work. The physical fitness standards of those agents are being appropriately assessed.
So are you requiring these kinds of pull-ups?
We are requiring everybody to pass the 1811 standards at BFTC. If you want to chase down a bad guy and put him in handcuffs, you better be able to do a pull-up.
The reason I ask is that there are concerns about whether or not being able to do these kinds of harsh pull-ups is really required of FBI agents.
Doing one pull-up is not harsh, and there are always really medical exemptions to that.
Oh, of course. Is there a difference between a pull-up and a harsh pull-up? Senator, could you describe the difference between the two? Senator, is this just because you couldn't climb the rope in gym class, and this is your vengeance? Oh, man, the silliness of it all. Pull-up gate. Mazie Hirono is uncovered. Okay. Need a little bit of comic relief in these times. On to the more serious matters with serious people. You had this exchange between Kash Patel and Josh Hawley about the state of the Charlie Kirk assassination investigation, which just based on the Discord group that has been discussed alone that the assassin was a part of, should mean that the FBI is tracking down those individuals involved in that group. There's also this other LGBTQIA-oriented group that is under investigation. It's been reported. And the question is about foreknowledge. Foreknowledge that because the assassin said he had planned this for about a week, according to the district attorney there. So any foreknowledge, much less actual material contribution to this assassination. And here was Patel's update.
What we do for an interrogation perspective, we go and reach out to the family and community immediately. And we've conducted those investigations and interrogations with local law enforcement. And we're continuing to do that because those closest to the suspect are going to hopefully know the most about the suspect and his beliefs and his ideology. On top of that, unfortunately, it has been leaked that there was a Discord chat. And for those unfamiliar with it, it's a gaming chat room online that the suspect participated in. So what we're doing, we've already done, is serve legal process, not just on Discord, so that the information we gathered is sustained and held in a evidentiary posture that we could use in prosecution should it be decided to do so. And we're also going to be investigating anyone and everyone involved in that Discord chat.
Okay, very good. I see the public reports that the Discord thread had as many as 20 additional users. It sounds like you're trying to run down all of that to see if that's accurate. Who else may have been on that thread, what they may have known. Is that fair to say?
It's a lot more than that. We're running them all down.
It's a lot more than 20?
Yes, sir.
And you're running all of that to ground?
Every single one.
Yeah, fantastic.
For more on this and to find out how many pull-ups he can do, we're pleased to be joined by Jim Gagliano, retired FBI supervisory special agent. and a doctoral candidate in Homeland Security at St. John's. Also served as mayor of the village of Cornwall-on-Hudson in New York. Jim, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Dan, if I appear in your show any more times, you're going to have to find me a nice house in your cozy enclave of the neighborhood. I might have to come to the second city.
Yeah, right. So those physical standards, first and foremost here, we got to make sure the FBI is up to snuff. Do we need FBI agents to enroll in the Hexeth RFK Jr. pull-up and push-up program?
Dan, it's a disappointment. When I took the test to become an FBI agent, and that was back in the late 80s, I joined the Bureau in 1991. They had a number of different tests and things that you had to do physically. And obviously there were complaints about women that didn't meet the standard and that filed lawsuits. And the FBI does what most government agencies do. They capitulate, they fold. They'd rather pay a settlement and give you what you want than to fight you in court and have to spend money. I get that. But we had a trigger pull test, and we carried 357s back then, and you had to hold the 357 between a circle and pull the trigger so many times. It was called a trigger pull test, and because typically women's hands are smaller and they weren't able to do that, they did away with that test. This is the same thing. Listening to Kash Patel yesterday up on the Hill, and I sat through 4+ hours of the agonizing testimony up there in the political grandstanding. But it's so shocking. I was hoping that the senator from Hawaii would have explained what a woman was, because all of a sudden now we can identify physiological differences. That's quite the turn, huh?
It was a revelation that there are physiological differences between men and women. I don't even know if Mazie Hirano knows the concession that she made, given her posture on those issues. All right. Well, we've had enough fun at her expense. Let's turn to the important things here. So the investigation into the Kirk assassination and how large the circle is, does it make sense to you what we're hearing from Kash, as well as what's been reported in the public domain about specific groups that may have had some intersection with the assassin, and perhaps in these chat rooms, these like Discord?
Yes, the easy answer to that is yes. It does make sense to me. I've long maintained that even though there was a successful 33-hour investigation and that this young man is going to be brought to justice and he's in custody right now. And Dan, I have to say, I've looked at the evidence that's been released. I certainly don't know all the evidence that the FBI and local law enforcement in Utah have, but it is a crushing case. You have this guy's own words saying that he did it, and you have just a treasure trove of forensic evidence. It is an incredible case when you look at the evidence. Now, having said that, the most important thing is to make sure that there wasn't anybody else conspiring with him. And look, that doesn't necessarily mean providing material support. That's obviously part of why you could be indicted as an accessory. But it's also, did someone inspire or direct him? And again, it's a fuzzy lane there, because let's say he's in a Discord chat room, as he was, and he's there with a bunch of far leftists, and he makes hyperbolic, heat-of-the-moment comments about Charlie Kirk, and somebody claps their hands or says, yeah, you go, boy. Can you indict that person? Can you charge that person? Dan, that's a legal question, and I know it can go both ways. Do I see or sense anybody getting charged for encouragement in that sense? No, but I'm not completely satisfied yet that the investigation is done. I think they're going to look deeply into this to see if anybody pushed this young, impressionable, disaffected, disconnected, disenfranchised, I'll use all the D words there, individual into doing this heinous act on that university campus.
Yeah, I mean, like, to offload legal responsibility to somebody else when you're talking about a 22-year-old man, I think is a pretty high bar. I assume you would agree.
Yes, 100%. I mean, he's responsible for his actions. There's no doubt about that. But I think as we go forward, I do want to hear that it has been thoroughly investigated, which it will be, and that there was nobody else that knew of this beforehand. Now, there's been some there's been some speculation about whether or not this final chat after the assassination between Mr. Robinson and his, for lack of a better term, the person he was in an intimate relationship with, was that to help clear this individual of knowledge beforehand. The FBI will sort all that out. They're talking to the right people, and obviously they're going through all the forensic harvesting on all the personal electronic devices and on the internet, and they'll get to the bottom of that. We just don't have those answers yet.
I haven't seen this reported. It was raised by a caller earlier in the show, and that's a good question. The whether or not that the assassin was on any psychiatric drugs. That's something the FBI would want to know, right?
100%.
Prosecutors would want to know for sure.
Sure, and could the defense bring that up? Because remember, there's two pieces of a crime, right? There's actus reus, the act itself, and then there's mens rea, the mental state to put you to commit it, that you know what you're doing. That could certainly be a defense posture if that is true. I don't buy it. And look, it doesn't look like they're screwing around out there. The Utah DA yesterday laid this out. They came in tough. They came in with aggravated murder charges. And for your listeners, Jimmy, what's the difference between just a simple murder charge and what's aggravated murder? Well, he committed the heinous act. He was a political assassin who murdered Charlie Clerk, but he also put in peril 3,000 people when he fired that round over the top of their heads. So it's a tough standard to meet, a tough bar to meet, but he is looking at, life in prison, or they could pursue the death penalty.
They are pursuing it. Yeah, right.
Yes, it'll be tough. Well, there's still negotiations. This is all pre-trial, but it'll be tough because, Dan, in that instance, you got to get two juries to agree. You got to get 12 people to convict and 12 people to then come back and say, yes, he deserves death.
Something else that was discussed at that hearing yesterday with Kash Patel. Chuck Grassley, the Senate Judiciary Committee chairman, brought forward documents, whistleblower documents, that detail the FBI targeting some 90 different conservative organizations, including Turning Point, the organization that Charlie Kirk co-founded, as part of Operation Arctic Frost, which was the predicate for Jack Smith's persecution, if you will, of Donald Trump. Do we need to bring Chris Wray back here for a little bit more explanation of what he knew and what was going on, such that they were casting such a wide net when they weren't targeting Catholics who attend the Latin Mass? They were targeting all these conservative grassroots organizations to try to figure out ways to get to Trump, the Trump administration, Trump himself, Trump allies, and so forth. This really smacks of the sort of lawfare that we've been talking about and decrying for, well, ever since Trump arrived on the scene.
I would argue it goes back further than that, Dan. It goes back to the Obama administration and Lois Lerner and the United States Postal Service and the conservative groups that struggled to get nonprofit status because they were stymied in the process because of their political adherences and their political beliefs. I look at it like this, and I don't want to go in a different direction, but Dan, I know some of these quote-unquote whistleblowers, and whistleblowers have an important role to play, and many of them, probably most of them, deserve to be lauded and deserve to be protected, and that's what Senator Grassley set out to do. However, not all of them are the same. There are some malcontents. There are some poor performers that have jumped onto this, and all of a sudden you're talking about 20 or 30 people now that are quote-unquote whistleblowers, and they're building the cross and they're putting themselves on top of it. I'm careful and I'm circumspect about what I take that comes out from this because a lot of it is politically motivated, not all of it. And to your question, should Director Wray be brought back in front of, the Senate Judiciary Oversight Committee and hearing and be made to speak to this? I think that's fair. I think once you serve in those pivotal positions, those senior level positions, absolutely you should answer to the American people.
Yeah, and then also correspondingly, so what the FBI is alleged to have done, according to these whistleblowers, and what the FBI is alleged to not have done, that they should have done, according to other declassified FBI files, that come to us courtesy of Chuck Grassley, which is the business dealings of one big guy and his son, baby boy Hunter, the smartest man he knows, overseas in Ukraine, and whether or not that credible allegations of bribery were fully investigated by the FBI. Chuck Grassley saying, we aren't saying the allegations are true. We want to know what the FBI did to fully investigate their veracity or lack thereof and what they concluded. Let's put this matter to rest one way or the other. I mean, it's sort of 7, 8, 9 years removed, and we still can't figure out a way to put this to bed. I mean, this is what creates such skepticism about the FBI and the federal government and any accountability for either.
It's difficult, especially now, because it'll just be looked at and viewed with a wide swath of the American public on the right and on the left as well. This is politically motivated. I don't know if Hunter Biden will ever face true justice. I don't know if Joe Biden in his dealings as the vice president and his dealings as the president will ever be fully, brought to justice and adjudicated. And I know you and I have argued about this before. At some point in time, you just got to go, hey, we got to move on, because the argument is going to be we had different priorities, just like the Trump administration's priorities right now are focused on the border and focused on stopping violent crime in this country. The Biden administration, I don't know what they were, because no one knows what they were, had different priorities. And I think that
I have some idea what those priorities were, but that you can't say it straight away. Yeah, it would be an admission of guilt. Yes.
I was trying to be polite.
Yes. James Gagliano, retired FBI supervisory special agent, doctoral candidate in Homeland Security at St. John's. He also served as mayor of Village of Cornwall-on-Hudson in New York. Jim, thank you as always. Appreciate it.
Dan, thanks for having me.
And he joined us on the Turnkey.Pro answer line.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
When the power goes out, life stops. Heat, AC, fridge, phones, all gone. But with a Generac home standby generator from True Power Generator Service, your home powers back on